Hello and welcome to It's All Geek to Me, the pop culture chat show where three friends with varying degrees of nerd knowledge get together each week to have a chat about all things geek. Now, this is part 3 of our special Harry Potter special. My name is Rich Gittins, and joining me this week and every week, it's my best buddy, Nathan Webb. Come on out, Webby.
Sup, Potter nerds?
Dude, how you doing, mate? You right?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I'm wearing my
Missed
4
you last
t-shirt that
week.
looks like it's from Gryffindor, but it's not.
Same here,
Same.
but mine's Stranger Things. Yeah.
Gryffindor colours, but, you know.
It's nice. It
That's
looks
about
good. It looks good. Nah, it looks good. Missed you last week, buddy. How did the show go?
It was all right, yeah. It wasn't the same without you.
Oh, bless you.
I'm kidding. It wasn't better. All right, I knew you'd be sensitive about that. No, it was good. It was all right. We scraped through. We had a laugh. It was a good laugh. Yeah, can't remember what we talked about.
Well, I watched the show back, actually, and I really enjoyed it. Depressingly, it was a really brilliant show. And, yeah, you guys can easily do the show without me. And you had the lovely Natalie Smeaton on last week, didn't you?
We did, yeah. We like her so much. We got her back.
Yeah, we did. There she is. It's Natalie Smeaton, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, Nat?
I am absolutely fine. How are you?
I'm good. I heard a rumor that you have just come back from partying with Grace Jones and little Jimmy Cranky. Is that true?
Where is this going?
I just read it somewhere.
Well, you know what? They are
in a caravan at a festival with Grace Jones and little Jimmy Cranky.
Yeah, I woke up in the middle of the field in gold hot pants, nothing else. No idea where I was. Yeah, she can party. Jimmy Cranky can party. That's all
we Jimmy Cranky.
There's nothing wee about Jimmy Cranky last night.
Wow,
Grace Jones, controversial. I'm surprised you survived the night with Grace Jones.
I don't think I did. Nobody really does. That's why I'm wearing.
Got all your body parts. I would have thought that maybe someone got eaten. I can see her eating a bit of a person.
Do you know what? If there was a real life like Dr. Frankenstein, I reckon that could be cast, like Grace Jones could be cast in that role. I reckon she would be. She's nutty enough to be the sort of person who's storing up body parts, allegedly storing up body parts to make her own superhuman. I think that's entirely
terrified
possible.
of her. I'm going to say only nice things about Grace Jones, just in case I ever cross a path and she
Look, essentially, Grace Jones, like Eartha Kitt, is immortal and will eventually cross your path. Yeah, and she does know everything that you say about her. The only reason I survived is because I've never said a bad word against her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I think she is almost like a Neil Gaiman character from American Gods or Sandman. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like so ethereal she doesn't exist. If she was
a good chat.
Here's a segue for you.
She's Gozer.
If she was in Harry Potter would be less believable.
Yeah, that's true, actually. That is actually true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got to say. Love you, Grace. Peace.
Yeah, love you, Grace. We all love you, Grace. Don't kill us. Please. Don't evaporate us. Don't harvest us for body parts. So last time we had our Harry Potter special, we attempted to get through a bit too much material, didn't we? Let's face it. And I'm going to take full responsibility for that. That was I'd over prepared, guys. So to kind of counteract that, I've underprepared for this week.
It's what happens when you're a nerd. You over prepare. It's fine. These things.
I think that when these 2 books now, we're thinking, it could take us 2 hours and it's probably going to take 25 minutes, and we'll have to go.
Well, do you know, we're not actually. No, go on, Nat.
No, I was.
No, you go on.
You go on. No, I was going to say we'll do this in 25 minutes, then we'll just have that really awkward silence where we don't really know what to say, and we can just
for an hour and a half.
Yeah, just not really looking at the screen.
So we just go. See you then.
I'll just get my phone.
Oh dear.
Oh, before we get onto the Harry Potter chat, I just want to say welcome everybody to the show. I missed you guys. I missed you, geeks. You're an awesome bunch of people. But if you want to leave a comment, please leave a comment down below. Go over to our Twitter feed at It's All Geek Twit. We're over on Facebook, and share the heck out of our content, because that is how we effectively increase our nerd knowledge by bringing more people, gravitating more people to the show. Go on, Webby at the back. Yes, you, Webb.
Mr. Gittins. Probably should mention the elephant not in the room. Lummy.
Oh, wait.
Do you know what? I hadn't even noticed. Noticed.
To be honest, we had a bit of an argument this week, and we talked about.
Dude,
he
we
said,
weren't
if you're
going
to do Harry Potter, you could suck it. I'm not doing it. He fell out with us.
Yeah. He said, I'm going to an 18-year-old's birthday party, and you guys can, like, just grow up. And I was like, okay, Lummy, fair enough.
So he's off to get off his face on ciders and stuff.
I mean, 18-year, he's going to try to be cool, isn't he? He's going to be that embarrassing 40-year-old.
Because it's his niece's 18-year-old birthday party, and they're all going to be like, all her mates are going to be like, is that weird? Who's that weird guy keeps coming and doing all the funny? What's a Kermit? What's a Kermit? Speaking of which, did anyone tell? Stanley keeps coming and doing this old man's voice. I don't understand who this Stanley is. And basically, Lummy is just doing the material that he normally does on the show at 18-year-old kids. Brilliant.
But I just imagine he does that everywhere he goes. Like he just busts out a bit of discount comedy in the Aldi's when he's doing his shopping, doing a bit of improvisation. Is it a melon? Who knows?
It's like that Steve Buscemi sketch, isn't it? Hello, fellow kids. That's Chris Lumb tonight with his skateboard and his cap on backwards.
Fantastic time.
And
I bet his niece can't wait till they all bugger off so she can go get drunk with her mates.
Actually, act like an 18-year-old. Yeah.
Do what 100%. She'd rather be doing than hanging out with her family, ruining her birthday.
Do you know what? I've met his niece and she's absolutely lovely. In fact, I managed her for a bit when she worked at my shop and she was an angel.
Is your phone definitely off Wi-Fi, baby?
Shout out to Charlotte. Oh, he thinks he's off Wi-Fi, but we can hear him.
We can hear him. Yeah. He's still on Wi-Fi, buddy.
We can hear you, Mr. Gittins.
We've got enough. Oh, no. Now he's buffering. Right. Jesus.
We can just chat.
Yeah, let's
just chat, mate.
How's your week been, man? How's Lush?
Do you know what? I do work at Lush, yeah. It's been a busy week, but it's been a nice week. There's not been enough room for geekery, though, but I am knitting some Halloween pumpkins, which has made me very happy human being.
Sweet.
I'm not going to lie.
You got some sort of Halloween-y kind of Hogwartsy kind of jumper. Is it Halloween?
It's a Halloween jumper. It's got bats on, but it's that really cool sort of, you know, like when they used to draw specimens in books. It's like that type of drawing. Like, do you know what I mean?
Oh,
that's what it is.
Very good. Yeah, I've had a geek-free week as well. I'm too busy to geek it up this week. I've been too bloody busy for it.
Oh my God, I'll tell you what I've started reading again though. What? I don't know if you've read this, Webby. World War Z.
I've never read it, no, because I saw
it's way better than the film.
Oh mate, I saw the film and I liked it.
It's way better. The film is good, but the book is unbelievable. The book is like a biography of like a zombie apocalypse and then the aftermath. And it's put together as if a journalist is writing and collecting survivor stories. It's nothing like the film.
I'm stuck now. I've got myself an iPad. I've had it for about 2 years and I've been reading less and less for 2 years. I'm wondering what it is that's making me... No, it's my iPad. I'm constantly looking at it. I can read on it. I've got a Kindle, but I don't buy books on it because I like a physical book.
Me too.
Instead, I've just opted for a huge pile of books, which aren't as easy to get to as this, which is like right there.
And actually, the physical thing of holding a book when you because I had a Kindle for ages because I travel a lot for work, but the actual physical act of holding a book. If you've had a Kindle for a while, it's like...
I love it, man. I love it. I love it when it's finished, done. It's done. I've done it. Put it on the pile.
Yeah, the pile. Do you know what, Nathan? I'm going to send you a copy of World War Z because genuinely it's nothing like the film and it's absolutely superb. It's
and
really
then
good.
winner chicken dinner for you. I've kind of got to read it, haven't I? Because if somebody bought me it, it's like, it's the height of rudeness to not read a book that somebody... You know what was a bugger for that?
Go on.
Gittins.
Really?
Yeah, he likes to read. He likes to read, but it's like, and he'll see this when he comes back on. He likes reading, does Gittins, but he doesn't always. It's like it's a fine line. He has to know a little bit about the book before he'll get into it. But if he knows too much, he just won't get into it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, how do you legislate for that?
It's a fine line.
So I bought him, for example, Golden Compass a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And then they made a a show of it. And the reason I got him Golden Compass was the Harry Potter logic. If you want something that is going to melt your mind as much as Harry Potter has, and it's just enjoyable, then I thought you'd dig it. And weirdly enough, when he started watching this show, I don't know if he's read the book yet, but he started watching the show and loves it. So I know my theory was correct. Yeah. He would love that book.
It's a great book, Rich. It's a great book.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. I'm sorry about that, guys. We had internet issues around here.
All right, we were just talking about book
Grace
club.
Jones coming in book club.
See, it started. You were too mean. You went too far.
Wait, I went straight in on Grace Jones, and the all-knowing, all-powerful Grace Jones just came and.
In fact, that's the last book I read. That was the Grace Jones story, and it was the best book I've ever read.
And now you're not allowed to read anything else.
Anyway, we've got a couple of.
It's ruined books for me. That's how good it was.
Sorry. Oh man. I've got a couple of comments that come in. We got Martin. Were they Lummy's gold hot pants?
I wouldn't put anything past him.
Oh God, I've got an image of Lummy wearing gold hot pants now. Ah, jeez.
I have.
It's like something from Alan Partridge. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean the worrying thing is that Nat and Lummy are the same size. Is that right?
He's got narrower hips than me. He's like a tall bean.
I would have said he got I thought he would have had bigger hips.
He's a
I think Lummy's got childbearing hips. It's
if he were a 15th century peasant, he'd be popping them out. Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
So I saw this thing recently, Nat, that kind of sums what we were just talking about while we were filling the time there up, and it's that thing that you're still a reader. But you can't. I haven't actually read that much this year. I think I've read maybe 3 books this year.
Yeah.
One of them was a Golden Compass one. It was the new Book of Secrets one. I don't know if you've read those. Have you got into those yet?
I haven't yet. No.
So he started a prequel trilogy.
And I love a prequel.
Oh mate, this is amazing. The first book is about Lyra as a baby getting lost in a flood in Oxford. The second book, Lyra is now she's now an adult who's left university and is on her way through the world, and it just develops that world even more. Honestly, fantastic. I can't wait for the third book. They're really
give them a go.
Beautiful.
We were just talking, Richard, about World War Z.
Did you just Sunday name me then?
I did, Mr. Richards.
That's right. I'm in trouble because I'm in trouble. It's right. I did badmouth Grace Jones. Yeah. Don't even think I badmouthed Grace Jones. Actually, I don't think I said anything bad about her.
I think we'll let Grace Jones be the judge of that.
I
think we'll just let Grace Jones be the judge of everything.
Yeah.
Simplify
as
things.
I'm concerned. Yeah.
That's fair. I
was just telling Webby to read World War Z. That's where we were when you came in.
Which hence Martin's comment about World War Z as well. Okay, cool.
Gotcha. I will give it a read. I will.
But
please don't go spending your money on your hard-earned money on hard-earned books for your old mate Webby. It's fine. I'll find a copy on Amazon for like a penny or so.
Webby.
But yeah, don't waste your money on me. Buy your own. Buy more. Just buy books. Unless you've got a spare copy of it, and you don't have to send me it.
Just before we do move on as well, another really good book I read recently was called Meddling Kids, which was extremely good.
I've got that on my list.
Now, can I just ask? Right, is this right? Can I just ask? When he said old mate Webby, did that remind you of Scooby-Doo? And then you've just come up with the book about meddling kids? Like genuinely?
Yeah.
Because when you said old mate Webby, I was like, yeah. Oh my God, it's old man Webby from the amusement park. And
Meddling Kids is on my list of Amazon. If I had all the money in the world, I'd just buy all these books list.
Honestly, it's really good. You have to read it as if you're reading a cartoon because there are things in it that are quite cartoon-like, but it's very, very good book. I did enjoy it. Yeah, gotta say.
So you're kindling all these bad boys. Are you actually reading the physical book?
I've got back into reading the physical books because I read my Kindle for ages, but I was missing the weight of a book. Yeah.
See, the thing reason I prefer actual books to Kindle is because when you're reading in bed, a book just kind of bounces off your nose when you fall asleep, whereas the Kindle just wakes you up. And once we talk about books very quickly, it's an old book I read years ago, and I always recommend it. It's a brilliant book. It's called "Don't Tell Mum I Work on the Rigs. She Thinks I'm a Piano Player in a Whorehouse," and it's an amazing autobiography yeah, it's an amazing autobiography of an Australian guy who grew up. His father worked on the rigs, died. His mum married a guy who worked on the rigs, and like the last thing she, oh God, news just in, guys. I think this is probably breaking news.
Oh
my
no way!
Jesus!
Shit!
Is that going to be before Halloween? Because I'll be really annoyed if it is.
No, next month. Oh shit, we're in September, aren't we? So it's going to be before Halloween, or maybe it's on Halloween. Maybe it's like a Halloween surprise.
Maybe it'll bring zombies.
Maybe nobody's going to believe it's real.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's some Halloween stunt.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, that gets us out a lot of.
It does get
us out of a lot of stuff, guys.
Yeah.
It does.
I don't know if you looked around you. The world is not a nice place to be in at the minute. And the fucking meteor hitting us is about what we deserve right now. So sorry.
I know the world would be burning if we had any fuel to burn it with, but you know, it seems like. So yeah, don't tell Mum I work on the rigs. She thinks I'm a piano player in a whorehouse. So it's just a cool book.
They've got it down.
Cool
They've got it down.
It's about all his adventures that he kind of goes on. It's just this mental life of this guy growing up in Australia. It's a really cool book. In fact, probably going to reread it. Last time we came and we talked. Go on, Webby.
I was just going to say I read one that you guys might have heard of, and I think they turned it into a movie.
Is it The Matrix 4?
No, it's the 100-year-old man who disappeared out of his window and never came back. It's about this guy on his 99th birthday. Oh, sorry, the morning of his 100th birthday. He's in a care home in Sweden, and he just steps out of the window. It's not a high rise. Just straight out onto the grass, and then he takes off on this Forrest Gump-like adventure where he ends up meeting. Oh God, I can't remember. It's kind of so similar to Forrest Gump that I can't remember who he meets. He meets the guy who invented the atom bomb. He meets Mussolini, I think, and he's like hanging around with all these. It's bloody hilarious.
Is it based on a true story? Because I know somebody who just got up and walked out of his window. I mean, none of that stuff happened. He broke both his legs and had to relearn how to walk. But
that's a much shorter.
But it's a true story, though.
Yeah. No, this is
yeah, sadly, before Halloween.
Oh, what?
Sorry, Webby.
Well, I'm going to have to Google that now and see if it's serious. To be honest, I think I'd like it as a surprise. And never mind all that, oh, you got 1 hour left on Earth, what would you do with it? I'd probably run around freaking.
I'd rather die in ignorance. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I'd rather not know I was ill. I'd rather just suddenly die one day.
Yeah.
Done. You know, just die in ignorance. I panic too much. I worry too much. You know, I'm just setting myself up for a fall.
I've been reading a book called What If, and it's a guy who's a cartoonist in America, but he's also a bit of a maths and science nerd. And he set up this website where you can ask him hypothetical questions, and he'll answer them with maths and science. So the first question in this book was, there's all sorts of stuff in there, like if I were to swim in the water in a nuclear, where they store the old nuclear cores in the water. They put them in water to make sure they're cool. And this guy wanted to know how long it'd take to die if you were to swim in that water. And it's not as... Hang on, I've got the book over it. It's not as long as you'd think, actually. You'd think it'd be like 30 seconds, something like that. It's way longer than that. But the other question...
So it's longer than you think, then?
Yeah, sorry, longer than you think.
I was like, wow, shit.
You know
when you went, I think it's going to be 30 seconds. I was like, how quick's it going to be?
What, 3 seconds? What?
Longer, right, okay.
Yeah.
One of them it goes into the realm of like what would happen in certain apocalyptic situations. And the first question in the book is, what would happen if the Earth and all terrestrial objects suddenly stopped spinning, but the atmosphere retained its velocity? Yeah,
Surely
I don't know if you understand the question. Okay.
Would we all turn to soup? Surely we'd all turn to soup.
Oh yeah,
right?
we'd be dead in a matter of seconds. There would be 1,000-mile-an-hour winds all over the planet, but as soon as those winds start to slow down, they graduate radiation. They get heat and radiation, so it would vaporize anything else. The only people that would survive would be those who were severely underground bunkers. But the problem with that is if you're next to a neighboring bunker, it can be blown into your bunker. The force of the wind would be that strong. Yeah, it's nuts. Absolutely nuts. But yeah, there you go. What If by Randall Munro. It's just Some of the other questions are like, how long could a nuclear submarine last in space? What if my DNA suddenly vanished? Could we build a Lego bridge between London and New York? What would happen if absolutely everyone jumped at the same time?
That was a question I asked my geography teacher when we were at school. Would it cause? And he said, yeah, it would cause an earth tremor. And then I said, if we all faced in the same direction and farted at the same time, would it like push the world a little bit quicker round or slow it down a little bit? And he said no. So there you go.
A bit stinky, though,
just
wasn't it?
Stinky. Yeah, it's a great big temporary hole.
Global warming. Yeah.
So it's just interesting questions that you don't think have got an answer, and this guy's attempted to answer them. If every human suddenly disappeared from the face of the earth, how long would it take before the last artificial light source would go out?
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
That's a good
there
question.
You go. What if? I'll pimp it for you. It's quite interesting.
Nice.
It's a bit like QI in a book, except he's making everything up, and he's got like science geeks to back him up. So every theory he sort of works out with his maths. He then asks a bunch of people if they agree with that theory, and they might add, subtract from it. It's quite funny.
Wish I could do that.
Well, having spent all that time telling you I'm not reading a book, I literally picked one up the other day, so I am reading a book.
What's in your bed?
I'm reading like 12 books.
But guys, we last time the three of us met, it was to discuss quite in depth. I think it was like the third Harry Potter book to the fifth Harry Potter book. We bit off quite a chunk there because they are quite vast.
I mean, let's face it. We thought we were going to finish, didn't we? We thought, we'll knock this out. Easy peasy.
Yeah. But nobody considered the Lumb paradox in that equation. And so this week we're not setting a stall out on how far we're going to get through, but we are going to continue with where we left off, and that is the Half-Blood Prince. And rather than just detailing what goes on in the Half-Blood Prince, because you're here because you already know what happens in the Half-Blood Prince, we decided that we were just going to talk about some of the themes of the book, some of the inconsistencies between the book and the film, and just kind of generally what we feel about the source material. So, is there anybody that wants to start us off when talking about a Half-Blood Prince? Does anyone have anything that they want to discuss?
I think it looks slick AF. I think it's one of the slickest films looking, and right up until the end was probably going to be my favourite. I think it looks great, and I think the performances from almost everyone are actually some of the best in the whole franchise.
I would concur with that in the sense that the kids who have up until this point been unimpressive, let's say, when it comes to acting, step it up a notch in this one.
Yeah,
it's
especially Draco.
Draco's great. Yeah. Weasley's great with his new bird. He's got a girlfriend in it, hasn't he? It's interesting. I mean, go on.
I think that's actually one of my issues with the film compared to the books, is that you've gone from this very dark, really dark Order of the Phoenix. And then the subject material in the book is incredibly dark as well, as you come into it. I mean, bear in mind, you've had Voldemort in the previous book going through Harry Potter's mind and his thoughts and manipulating him in that sense. We lose Sirius Black. And then it's like, well, I know it's the case that the studios decided they wanted the sixth one to be slightly more comical and more of a rom-com. I know that they are looking in the book at kind of young love and things like that, but it becomes they do it in the sixth film to a point where I think it's counterproductive for some awesome characters like Ginny Weasley. It just makes her a silly, giggly, shy schoolgirl rather than the badass, really witty, really funny character that she is.
I think it's worthwhile clarifying our stance, first of all. My stance is I don't take the films, I don't give them much merit at all. Never have done. I think they're like glossy little adverts for something much, much better. And if you weren't so lazy and put down the popcorn and picked up a book, you'd actually enjoy it much better. You know what I mean? Yeah. Every single one of the films. That's
You're
the case.
Absolutely right.
Every single one of them. You can't carry across as much detail, as much interest and character development and little things that are going on that you don't mention. It's Tom Bombadil. It's Tom Bombadil from Lord of the Rings. It's the travesty they cause when they cut that whole bit out from Tom Bombadil. You know, you've got to make these choices as to what people think are going to be important to the film, as opposed to the book. And I don't think anybody's qualified to tell me what I'm going to miss from a book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that always happens with the book adaptations. Don't get me wrong; they're all right. They're watchable. They're great family films. I just don't think that they are a patch on the story of the books.
And we just had a contribution here, from one of our most learned viewers when it comes to all things Harry Potter. Sorry, one sec. Sorry, that's Lummy just being Lummy. There you go. Right, sorry, Nat, what were you going to say?
You're all right.
Funny,
I was going to say,
it's still funny, Lummy.
Funny. Thinks he just can't keep away, can he? He just
thing is, what he's turned around to is all the 18-year-olds. He's gone, oh no, I've got to check my Snapchat, dude.
Yeah,
that, and they're like, oh wow, he's got me down with the kids. He's snapping with the rest of us, and they go, no, Granddad, it's TikTok now. And he's like, yeah, I've got my tics in my talk. Don't you worry about it. And then he's like, nerds.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just fun. I mean, I just don't know what world that guy lives in sometimes. It's all the shit that you like's not nerdy at all, Lummy.
No. It's all stored in his hair, though, isn't it? It's all stored in his hair. Big hair he could hide a badger in. That's where he keeps it all.
It's all right. You know what, though? The problem is that I just can't stay mad at him. I can't.
Not that face. Not that face.
Guy. I can't. Never have been able to. Guy gets away with murder with me.
He really does. And has. Has, allegedly.
Actual murder.
Actually murdered.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
So
yes.
So I was about to say it's really interesting what you said, Rich, about how they treat Ginny, because I think when you watch the film, there's a lot of time spent about Harry and Draco, and the fact that we can see that Draco is really struggling with the fact that he's essentially got to prove himself to Voldemort. We find out towards the end that he's supposed to kill Dumbledore. Like, you can see all this like building up through the movie, and he gets a lot of like really nice scenes, and it looks really slick. And yet the female counterpart in this book, who was supposed to be developing her own arc and becoming like Hermione, and another strong female character, is just reduced, like boils down. But Hermione is as well, actually, in the films, even more so. Yeah. I mean, I know that is actually, part of the narrative in the 6th book in Half-Blood Prince, but it's just kind of cranked up to 11 a little bit with the scene with the sort of unrequited love from Ron and all that sort of stuff. It's just, it is very much a teen romance film. They've really tried to shoehorn that in, when actually it's not a hugely prominent part of the 6-book story. I mean, they cut out all the Quidditch stuff, for example, and that's where Ginny steps up as a really strong character. She effectively wins the Quidditch Cup for Gryffindor. Sorry, Webby.
It's not essential or integral to the storyline at all, the love story. In the book, they're kind of just like, this happened as well, but in the films, they're like, this is the focus of what happened. You're right, it's weird. It's weird. You can spend as much time as you want looking at Draco, and he's feeling that he knows he's going to have to kill somebody to become a proper dark wizard, but he's not badass enough to do that. Psyching himself up to do it, and then he can't do it. And
I think in the book
cool about it, I think they got a couple of things right in the film. I really like the way they handled the unbreakable vow.
Yeah, that was different in the film to the book, and it was really good, actually, that Narcissa actually asked herself rather than Bellatrix.
I also think it's really strong where you see Hermione leave home and take herself out of her own family pictures, knowing that she's never going to see her parents again. Because that's where we start this story, isn't it? That in the 6th one, they're not at Hogwarts.
Wait, that's in the 7th? No, that's the 7th. They are.
Is it the 7th?
Yeah.
This is the one.
It's way longer than I remember.
So the 6th one, so the 6th one basically is where
they're still at school.
So basically, in it's so this is the real statement from the film producers actually, that it starts off with Harry at a train station chatting up some random girl who works in a cafe and arranging to have a date with her afterwards, and then Dumbledore comes to meet him there, when in actual fact in the books Dumbledore comes to Privet Drive and chastises the Dursleys for treating Harry so badly over the previous 5 years, and then he takes Harry with him to go and meet Horace Slughorn, who he wants to recruit to go back to Hogwarts.
I'm with you now. I know exactly where we are. Yeah.
So that he can find out what the secret was that he'd erased from his mind about Tom Riddle asking about Horcruxes. So that's basically what it's about. So it's basically about Harry trying to find out what a Horcrux is, so that Dumbledore can complete his knowledge of what it is that Voldemort's up to. And I think that's what they do in they really cut out. So they cut out all the Quidditch stuff pretty much, where there's a lot of stuff that goes on in there to do with Harry and Ginny and all that sort of stuff, and Ron and McLaggen as well, who fancies Hermione. But also they cut out a lot of the pensive journeys that Harry goes on with Dumbledore, where he finds out about the House of Gaunt. You miss all of the backstory of
me.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically almost out of the blue. So in the book, you find out of the House of Gaunt. You find out about Marvolo Gaunt, about them being related to the only descendants of Salazar Slytherin. You find out where the the locket comes from, and all those sorts of things. And they just cut all of it out of the film.
Yeah. And you know what? Do you know the thing that? Oh, sorry, go on, Webby, because I'm going to rant.
I think there are like problems with this film, but the major problem is they're trying to get a bunch of kids to sit on their arse and watch this movie, so they can't have a 6-hour movie. You know what I mean? Maybe they missed the trick not doing. Did they do part 1 and 2 of Half-Blood Prince, or was that the next one?
No, only Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, they should have done. They should have spent a bit more time on the exposition, because it's kind of like you're getting towards the end of the race and they're just not giving you
the information. It's not like they're like giving you one trainer, not two trainers.
Not all the things that join up the dots to kind of have this brilliant finish.
Picture.
Now, as long as they kept those beats in the movies for it to make sense. So, for example, you can watch the movies all the way through, having never read the books, and you're not missing out on anything. Doesn't really matter, because the rest of us did both and read the books and watched the film, so we could fill in the gaps ourselves.
Fill in the gaps,
and that is just a problem that's endemic in TV and film anyway, that we're always going, oh, well, it wasn't as good as the book, blah, blah, blah. That's the difference. I want it to be as good as the book, but it doesn't necessarily have to have the entire contents of the books in it.
See, I've got a theory about this, though, because I think, so I know that J.K. Rowling as a figure is controversial, and that's a whole different thing, that's a whole different discussion. But I also read A Casual Vacancy, and I think
is that the book that she wrote under a different name after she finished the Potter?
They were the Gilbraith books. A Casual Vacancy, I really, really enjoyed A Casual Vacancy, and the ending ripped my heart out. But when they adapted it, oh my God, yeah. And then they adapted it for TV, and the director was too scared to do the ending. And so they changed the ending slightly, which it still was good if you hadn't read the book, but it was nowhere near the emotional impact, I didn't think, that the book has. And what really annoyed me the most about this movie is we've read or watched Harry grow through these movies. We've seen how brave he is to the point of recklessness. He's risked his life. We've seen how loyal he is to Dumbledore. I mean, the sword appears to him because he's loyal to Dumbledore. He's like Dumbledore's guy. And yet, in the book, when Dumbledore appears...
He says it himself in this, actually, to the... you mean to say, I'm Dumbledore's man through and through?
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. You know, you're all right. And in the book, when he appears at the top of the tower towards the end, Dumbledore makes him he's got the invisibility cloak on, and Dumbledore charms him so he can't move. Because Dumbledore knows what's about to happen, that he's about to be killed, right? But in the movie, Dumbledore tells Harry to be quiet and makes him go downstairs, and then we are expected to believe that Harry will stand underneath Snape and a bunch of Death Eaters and Draco, watch them kill his hero, watch them run past him, and then chase them.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
This completely lost all integrity, did the movie when that happened, because we know that Harry wouldn't have done that. Not a chance that would have happened.
No, even if it was to his detriment, he would have saved
Exactly.
Dumbledore, or tried to save Dumbledore, and got
He would have
himself
died
killed
himself.
as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He was too emotional, too headstrong, too impulsive, and too, let's face it, immature, because he's a 15-year-old kid at that point. So yeah,
Exactly.
16-year-old, because he's just learning to, he's just about to turn 17, isn't he? Because just learning to.
He would have run up those stairs. He would have tried to take them all on, and Dumbledore knew that, and that's why he froze him, and and kept him underneath the invisibility cloak, because Dumbledore knew what he would do. And so they all run away, and then McGonagall gets injured, and all this horrible stuff happens. But the second they didn't do that in the movie, they completely lost me. I almost to the point where I didn't want to watch the next movie.
And the other thing they also don't do in that point of the film is in the books. So there's the whole thing about Felix Felicis, the really lucky potion that he has, that he uses to be able to get the memory from Slughorn. But in the books, he saves enough of that potion to be able to give each of his closest DA friends a little sip of it, and it actually goes on to save some of their lives, because he knows full well that the Death Eaters will be coming to the castle that night. So he gives them that to protect his friends. So it kind of furthers actually that it's kind of eating away at this heroic character that
in Star Wars A New Hope, when Obi-Wan clearly sees Luke before he sacrifices himself to Darth Vader's blade, right? Believe the reasons for Obi-Wan doing that are something along the lines of he's much more of a powerful Jedi than people realize. I've got a point. Stick with me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
He's much more of a powerful Jedi than people realize, and he's used the Force to see the future and knows that if he doesn't sacrifice himself to Darth Vader, it's going to affect Luke's arc, thereby affecting the whole new Jedi thing, right? My point is, what's Dumbledore's reasons for not wanting to be saved?
Well, he knew he was dying.
But he was dying,
with his hand.
Yeah.
So he knew he was dying
uncurable,
anyway.
Because he touched the Lurgy, he touched the dead water.
Touched the Lurgy,
And he also the Lurgy locket. And he,
it was the ring.
Also,
it was Marvolo's ring.
The Lurgy, that's right. It was the Lurgy ring, wasn't it?
Some subtext in there. Touch an unfamiliar ring and your hand could fall off.
Wash your hands, kids.
Wizard syphilis.
But he knows that it's going to happen, and I think he needs to make sure that Snape doesn't get found out, doesn't he? So if Snape can be the one that kills him, everyone will believe Snape is on Voldemort's side. It's the ultimate undercover moment for Snape. Because Dumbledore knows that that Draco can't do it, and Dumbledore knows that Snape will have to step in, and that Voldemort from that point will truly believe that he is Voldemort's man. So it's all contrived by Dumbledore, which makes even more sense for Harry to have to be frozen and invisible, because Dumbledore doesn't want that spoiling, or Snape might get revealed as being the double agent that he is.
So also, you pointed out a bit in the book. In the book, it's really sensibly worked out. Sticking with the theme of what Harry is, Dumbledore knows he's got to paralyze this little douchebag to stop him trying to help. He's got to. But in the film, it kind of makes him look like all of a sudden he's completely out of character.
Yeah.
So he's not brave. He's not headstrong. He's not going to challenge himself. He's not a Gryffindor. Yeah, you're right. It's total.
Or does it make it so that it shows how faithful? Because before they go on the mission to the cave to be able to get the locket, Dumbledore explicitly says, "You follow my every single command. If I tell you to stop, you stop. If I tell you not to fight, you don't fight." You know, because Dumbledore knows what is about to happen. So are they saying in the film that basically Harry is so faithful to Dumbledore that he does follow his every word? I mean, I don't think it stands up as well, and I don't think it's as powerful as him being frozen and being unable to help his hero.
We've all seen Harry Potter break the rules even when Dumbledore's told him not to do something.
Yeah,
and
also,
if he's been paralysed and stopped, and not being able to stop Dumbledore's death, that gives him more energy, more fuel to be angry at the bad guys.
Because he was unable to do anything.
It's the bullshit decision, and whoever directed that 6th movie needs a slap on the.
Well, it's David Yates. I think he did the 5th one, didn't he? And they bought that. In fact, he did the rest of them because he did such a good job after the guy who did all the comedy ones. Yeah, after the guy who did the 4th one, who made it quite comical, I think they brought in David Yates to do the 5th one because he was a bit more serious with what he was doing. Serious, is that the international symbol for seriousness? Yeah, I like that. Nice. Yeah, I like that. And scene. Yeah, I like it. Nice. And what do we think about Dumbledore's death, in that actual death in itself? Do you think that the film does it justice? Because it adds some stuff that doesn't happen in the books.
But there's a little bit of crossover, isn't there, between the Dumbledore you see in your head when you're reading and the Dumbledore in the film. I have to say, they're both pretty similar. That's one thing they've got right. The characters, essentially, they've got right. So when I'm looking at Dumbledore on screen, thinking about my image of Dumbledore in the books as well, and it kind of carries across. So I think in the book, fucking devastating. Devastating.
God,
absolutely just like, what? Hang on a minute. Oh, I don't want to read this next book then. Fuck it. If Dumbledore's not in it, I'm not. Screw you. They've got to bring him back. So you're reading the next book just to see if he comes back from the dead, basically. And in the film,
which he technically does, and when that happens,
it's like
quite cool.
In the films, it's just a sad little bit. The music's right. It looks all right, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah, you're right.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same. I think I like the fact that they added that bit where everybody. So I'm just telling this light down. It's a bit bright, guys. Oh, I like it.
Just leave your shit alone. It's fine. I tell you what, it just looked like you had an itchy toe or something.
Scratch my little toe down here. If you do see me disappearing out of the way, it's because I'm blowing my nose. I'm full of cold and lurgy at the minute. Nobody needs to see that.
We all appreciate you not making us listen to that.
Yeah.
I'm muting myself as well when it's happening because nobody needs to hear that stuff.
Gem of it.
Tell you what, Lummy wouldn't be doing that. Lummy would be this is an impression of Kermit the Frog sneezing, and he'd do it like in Kermit's voice.
And then he'd show you what was in it.
Yeah.
So
speaking of Kermit, very quickly, did anyone? Yeah, which you did. Speaking of Kermit, very quickly, it's a slight tangent. Did anyone find themselves uttering? Probably not, actually. Anyone else find themselves uttering the words "Get Kermit's name out of your cunt mouth" to the Prime Minister this week?
No, why? When did he even think about speaking about Kermit?
Whoa, yeah, Bojo been slagging Kermit off.
No, he did a whole quote when he went to speak to it wasn't the G8, but it was like a big summit in America, and he was having a go at them about not being environmentally friendly enough, and he was like, because in the words of Kermit the Frog, it's not easy being green, but and he went on to quote about Miss Piggy and stuff like that, and it was just like, in fact, our good friend Chris Lumb has ended up doing Boris Johnson.
Yeah, reading. I saw that.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, as much as I'd like to, I can't credit Boris with ruining the Muppets. It's not his fault. They were already ruined.
We talked about that last week, didn't you?
I don't appreciate it though. I think that's bullshit. Although if he'd have got a banjo out and sang a bit of Rainbow Connection, I think it'd have been quite impressive. It'd have been pretty funny.
Don't give him ideas.
No, I don't appreciate that kind of shit. Blaming everybody. Blaming it. What was he doing? Blaming the Muppets?
No, he was just quoting the Muppets, using the Muppets to kind of
blaming the Muppets for the climate change crisis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's got it all wrong.
Miss Piggy speaks. So he's putting a hole in the ozone layer. So yes, okay. So back to the Half-Blood Prince. What do we think about the casting of characters in this? Because Horace Slughorn, looks quite different actually to the Horace Slughorn of in the books. In the books, he is extremely obese. I mean, it really lends to that Slughorn character. You think of a man who's a bit sweaty, sort of excreting slime almost, and you don't get that at all. But personally, I'm not sure if it really matters in this instance.
Not to me. I think they nailed the adult cast of these films. I've said it before, I'll say it again. And they did. It doesn't matter whether they nailed the exact look of a character to me, more that they nailed the essence of the character. And I think time and time again, the adults, without Helena Bonham Carter and Michael Gambon and what's he called, Alan Rickman, this would be shit. The films would be shit. They'd just be full of.
Let's not also forget Narcissa Malfoy, who passed away. The lady who passed away, who played Polly Shelby.
Helen McCrory.
Helen McCrory, I didn't even realize it was her. I just totally took that. I didn't realize it was Helen McCrory. I was just like, she's brilliant at this. You know, whoever this actress is that's playing this role. I'm not very good at noticing who's who in films. I do kind of get into a film and kind of get swept up in the storyline.
And I've seen Peaky Blinders loads, man. But the kids. Some of the kids are well cast. The kids is the opposite. The kids all look a bit like the character, but have none of the essence of the character.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any kids? No, true. Are there any kids who grow into the character as the series goes on in the films?
Oh, I love Luna Lovegood's character. I think
she was great from the start, and she came in this.
Good.
In the fifth one, wasn't it?
Are there any that get better as you go on? Hermione gets less annoying.
Oh,
you remember how annoying she was in those first films? She really took that sort of.
There's this shocking scene, right?
You saw that shit.
You know what? I came up with a better then. There's this bit where she sat. You remember the bit where she sat in the owlery, and they've sent a letter, and she's just sat, and then Hermione is supposed to have this moment where she's like, "This is it now. He's back. Everything's going to change. Nothing's going to be the same." And I believe the line she says is, "Everything's going to be different now, isn't it?"
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a moment that, like, really, like, oh, this is where they've transitioned. They've grown up. They know now that they're going to have to face this evil, and they might not all live. And
transitioned in a J.K. Rowling book? Probably not.
Yeah, what?
Sorry.
Whoa, don't tell us.
Sorry.
I
can't help but think there's been some terrible mistake about this J.K. Rowling.
No,
there
must
be a mistake. It must be a fake Twitter account or something, because she wrote Harry Potter. She's all right.
No, mate, there hasn't. No.
Well, at what point stop talking
Yeah.
about Harry Potter then? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
cancel her. That's what had happened to everybody else. Cancel her. No, you're not allowed to read her books anymore.
Sorry,
well, a lot of trans. No, you're right. A lot of trans people have said that they've decided to keep the book and the author separate, because the books actually helped so many people, not just trans people, but so many people to get through really difficult parts of their life. And it's such a complex and layered universe that essentially they don't want to lose that, but they don't have to buy anything else. They don't have to read anything else, and they don't have to agree with the recent views.
You don't see people suddenly boycotting Michael Jackson's music either. Let's face it.
He did.
For Michael Jackson, he did for a moment, but if it comes on the radio, everybody's singing along. You know, I've seen the videos of your little kid dancing around to Billie Jean.
To be fair, though, there's still no proof against Michael Jackson. There's still no proof. They've got proof that J.K. Rowling said some stupid shit. But I'll tell you what, I just learned.
Proof that she's transphobic per se. It's more hinged on nuances as opposed to, you know.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I fundamentally understood what transfiguration meant by the sounds of it. So I thought that's what the representation. That's not the lesson I'm thinking of, is it?
No.
The one where you do a spell change yourself into.
No, but there is something in that, though. There is something in that actually I've felt that throughout her books there has been some tiny little spoon feeding is the wrong word. Little nudges to being kind all the way through, almost little lessons or little examples that you could then draw on, and actually things like transfiguration and stuff like that. You know, one could be forgiven for believing that is her. It's people turning themselves into animals, and things like that, or turning other things into other objects and stuff like that. And you've got Professor McGonagall who can turn herself into a cat, and same with Sirius and all that sort of stuff, and they're making it acceptable. So it does surprise me that actually, I always just thought that she was giving lots of little lessons on life to young people.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing when a children's author has a radical view that it's not in line with popular, opinion these days. But I'll tell you what, go back a bit. C.S. Lewis got accused of slamming so much Christianity into his books that his best friend J.R.R. Tolkien fell out with him. He said, "You can't preach to people when you're writing a book, dude. Let them just write about characters and let them make their mind up. Don't put all this religious iconography in there and try and blindside them into not knowing. Oh, all of a sudden I'm Christian from reading that book. You know what I mean? You can't do that. And
they're quite woman shaming as well. They're quite like women shaming in those books. Yeah.
It was disappointing when somebody you put on a pedestal as somebody who's got
and
talent
or
something
like
lets you down.
In my opinion, two of the characters that she wrote. The two of the biggest in my opinion, the biggest heroes in that book are the two people who fit in the least. Luna
and Neville. Yeah.
Luna and Neville.
Completely agree with you.
They have this massive arc. Neville essentially gets rid of a Horcrux. He gets the Sword of Gryffindor and he kills Nagini. And it's like this incredible moment.
But he's like the other half of Harry, isn't he?
Yes, yeah.
Well,
exactly.
at one point, they are not sure, are they, whether he was accidentally miscast as the boy who lived.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
it was supposed to be Neville all along. There's a lot of
ultimately, it's Voldemort that decided Harry was the boy who lived and not Neville. It was either of them. It could have gone either way, and ultimately, it was Voldemort that decided.
One of you survived a direct spell attack from the baddest wizard on the planet, and the other guy's parents went mad. It's not the same. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's a little bit of a letdown, but you know what puzzles me about this whole thing, and I've since learned that it wasn't. J.K. Rowling explained this way before people give her credit for. When all of a sudden it seemed like after the books had come out, she added an addendum that was basically, oh, by the way, everybody, Dumbledore's gay.
Yeah.
Right? Now, fair enough. My point isn't I disagree with that or I agree with it. But if it's important, put it in your book. Say something about it. Don't tell me afterwards, because you could tell me anything else. You could tell me he was a Nazi.
It's
whitewashing because it's not in the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it was the same when they cast a black Hermione in
The Cursed Child.
The Cursed Child. Sorry, well, Hermione's daughter in The Cursed Child. And then J.K. Rowling said, I never specified what colour.
I never said.
Hermione's black in The Cursed Child as well.
Yeah.
Hermione's in The Cursed Child. She's black, And she actually goes to the point and go, no, I said she had frizzy hair and freckles.
Right, well, just tell us that she's black then. Do you know what I mean? Like Nathan just said, I agree with that.
Or get off the pot. If
it's important.
The only good thing about it was that really macho guy who went and got the massive Dumbledore tattoo done on his back. And then literally a week later, J.K. Rowling was like, oh, and Dumbledore's gay, by the way. And his mates were just like...
yeah, because he was so manly before that.
Exactly. I went on to realise when I was saying that really macho guy. I've got a couple of comments that come in a second. Just from Martin. Hey, up again, Martin.
Hey, Martin.
Sandman or Cowboy Bebop? No,
not Cowboy Bebop, because I don't care about the Cowboy Bebop particularly, because it's a live action version of a cartoon, but saw the bit for Sandman. It's a little teaser that's come out.
Look all right.
Only a minute or so long. I mean, it's difficult to say. There's not much to it. I'm excited to see it. I've been excited to see this for many years.
I watched the first 3 episodes of Why the Last Man yesterday, by the way, Webby.
Oh, did you? I stopped at number 1 because I didn't realise I'd only dropped the first 3.
Yeah,
so I've got an entire series.
I think. I don't know if you know about this, Nat. Nat might be interested in this.
It's a great concept.
It's very different to the comic, though. It's very different to the comic. It's nowhere near as funny as the comic.
It has to be. You can't make a joke out of the issue at hand in this comic anymore. And Dan, my brother, came up with a really good point. It's about a civilization where suddenly all the blokes in the world, all the males of the species, just drop dead.
Anyone with the Y chromosome,
hideous,
apart from
bloody,
2.
way, like blood spurting out of them and stuff.
Oh.
Except for one guy and his monkey. That's not a euphemism. His male
Michael
monkey.
Jackson.
They're the last males on the planet. However, Dan quite rightly pointed out to me, and it goes back to what we've just been talking about with J.K. Rowling. What about all the trans people? What about all the people who
Dude, they're in the show. They're in the show.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's really interesting. So
wondering
it
how
really
they were gonna
threw me.
handle it.
So it threw me because we were watching it. My lady partner and myself, we were watching it yesterday, and it was so different to the comic that I have a partner and she's a lady. I'm just descriptive. Nat. Well, she's not a girl. She's not a girlfriend. She's a lady, and she's my partner. My lady partner. And we were watching it, and it was so different from the comic.
You made it sound like you've just got a cupboard with a lady version of yourself. Like, my lady partner.
So like and we're watching it, and yes, it's massively different. But there was a scene in it when I was like, wait, what? Hang on, what? And she was like, you're the one who's read the comic. I'm like, yeah, but this isn't in the what? And she said, oh, maybe it's a flashback, but it's actually not. It is a character talking to her trans friends. So I was kind of like, wait, why are these guys in it? But they weren't.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Yeah, it was a lot darker than I expected it to be, but it looks like it's going to be brilliant.
It's really good. It's really good. It's really well filmed, really well put together. I mean, he's a douchebag in it, but the thing I think it's missing is that he was a really funny douchebag in the comic book.
Exactly, yeah.
And he's not as funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny, isn't it? So that show, The Last Man on Earth, where basically the biggest arsehole on the planet is the only man left standing after the apocalypse. It is an interesting question. Yeah, the world would be a different place if the last man on Earth was a nice person. Do you know what I mean? It might not be necessarily as good of a story, but yeah, I really enjoyed the first one. But I had to stop because I thought I'm going to wait till there's a few.
It's good. It's really good. Now, if you get to watch it, it's good. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I do fancy it.
Hey, Big T, how you doing, buddy?
Hello. How are you doing?
Hello, lady partner.
Martin says JK has a new book out in a few weeks. I think it's key. I think it's called Curious Pig or something like that. Curious Pig.
What is it? Hers or is it a Galbraith one?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Galbraith one just added to the what's the word I'm looking for?
Controversy.
Controversy. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Like you're my lady partner with the braid splicing going on here.
Why are you not watching Downton Abbey at the same time as you're watching this? Sentences.
I was going to say sandwiches actually, but whatever.
Oh God! Damn it. I don't share food though.
Christmas pig, is that the one you're talking about?
The Christmas pig.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling, the Christmas pig.
Not the Curious Pig.
Maybe I wasn't reading it.
I'm a rather curious pig now. I never read the last one, to be honest. Never read the Casual Vacancy or whatever.
I've only read the part ones, to be honest. But no, it is interesting. Yeah, this kind of retrospectively changing little details about characters, and I get that though. It is a Christmas pig.
Sorry, yeah, go on. Sorry.
I do get that idea, and this is something I talk about with other actors. There's nothing more frustrating than finishing a run of a show. And like being forced to make all these decisions on what your character's doing and motivating ideas and things like that, and the thought processes, and then finishing a show, and then 3 months later you could be like sat in the toilet having a shower, just walking down the street, and suddenly a scene from that production that you've been involved in will pop into your head, and you'll have a completely different take on how that scene should be performed. And you're like, damn it, why didn't I do that? That would have been brilliant. And so I do kind of get that kind of retrospectively.
I've got an analogy that's for normal
details where
normal people that aren't an actor. When you're having an argument with someone and you leave that argument, you go, "Fuck, why didn't I say that? That's such a better line than what I actually said."
Yeah, it's that hindsight thing. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, hindsight would have just summed up that perfectly, wouldn't it? Yeah, sorry guys.
2020. Hindsight 2020. I don't know what that means. And I'm only kidding. Yeah, I mean, okay, so we've got about 3 pages into this book, guys. So, like, what else happens? Tell me all
So
about it.
well, no, but it is. So there are a lot of details that are missing in the film, and little bits that they do add. And I do think like they do justice to the death of Dumbledore when they're all stood outside and they light the wands and they're all at the, whereas in the book, Ginny comes and takes Harry away from the situation because she doesn't want him to see how upset he is by it. I think it's a really dark book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like from the fifth, as soon, in fact, I was going to say as soon as Cedric Diggory dies in the fourth one, it gets really dark, but that's not true because we're getting dark in the third one. And actually, there's a lot of stuff in that fourth book because we've talked about it being a bit like a Hitchcock mystery novel, actually, because you've got the whole thing with Barty Crouch Jr. and Barty Crouch Sr. There's that whole thing going on. That's all quite dark. The son kills the father and all that sort of stuff. So when the sixth one came along, although it's filmed in quite a dark light, like the grading on it is quite dark.
Yeah, but that's just irritating.
Yeah, it is
all
irritating.
The time. I mean, they do. I'm watching something the other day, and it's brand new. It's filmed in like crystal clear HD, and it was so dark you couldn't see what was going on. The last thing before that was Game of Thrones, season 8, episode 1, where they have the big battle, and you couldn't see anything. The Battle of Winterfell.
Yeah,
it's just a style that people have It just annoying.
Well, if you had the right kind of TV, then you'd be able to see my vision. Can't afford it, mate. Jog on. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So look, I think
we've got Slughorn's appointment. Slughorn's appointment to be the defensive dark arts teacher at Hogwarts at the beginning. He turns into a chair.
But no, he's not. They think he's hired. That's the secret to it, isn't it? They think he's been hired to be the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher because that's who has changed, the position that's changed every year. But in actual fact, when it's announced that he's the new potions master and Professor Snape is the new Defense Against the Dark Arts, and that's huge actually, because this is where they start questioning even more Dumbledore's sanity and rationale and reasoning behind things, because they're convinced that Snape is a dark wizard who's helping Draco. And there's that whole thing as well, I think I can't remember which way around it is. I think it's in the books. Draco shows the shopkeeper in Borgin and Burke's. So that's the thing. So you have that lovely scene where and these scenes always make me really happy. Fred and George scenes. I think they're really underrated in the Potter stories. I think they're such hugely positive characters. And so it's the scene in their joke shop that we know has been funded by Harry for winning the Triwizard tournament. And there's that whole thing that's going on in there. They've got the dark magic bit at the back. So you know that it's kind of showing that not only they're out fun, but actually that the ministry are paying them to develop some dark wizard fighting, materials and tricks and things like that as well. I just, sorry, Webby.
But again, yeah, man, I'm just a walking euphemism. But again,
so yes, I love that scene. But then Draco goes down to Nocturne Alley and goes to Borgin and Burke's, and he shows in the book the guy his forearm, which is why Harry's convinced he's been turned into a Death Eater, because he thinks he's showing the dark mark on his forearm. But you don't get that in the film. And in the film, I think he goes to Borgin and Burke's with. Does he go with, or maybe in the books, he goes with the werewolf? What's the werewolf called?
Fenrir
Greyback. Yeah. I think in one of them he goes with him, but in the other one he's by himself in Borgin and Burke's.
I want to get caught
this
down.
This is the problem that the films have done for me. I've got a better memory of the films than I have of the books. Believe it or not, because clearly I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But for that reason, some of it's ruined. So, for example, I really love Fred and George in the books, but the two actors in the film I mean, if they were good, you'd have seen them in something else, wouldn't you? Since, but you haven't. Not
I
really.
think the bit
Sorry,
that they
guys.
do the most justice for them in the films is in the fifth one when they leave Hogwarts during the exams and they
Dude.
absolutely ruin
in the books
Imelda Staunton,
and in the films, the books and the films, those two guys have some of the best lines in it, but the delivery of the lines by the actors in it makes it not good.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. No, I absolutely agree.
Sorry.
But actually, in the books, I was thinking about this earlier on, they are two of my favourite characters.
Yeah, man, me too.
But who are really understated, but so important to everything in that.
Yeah. I mean, it's upsetting in the next one, isn't it? We'll get to that bit anyway. But it's very upsetting when we lose one of them because you're just like, what? Like you feel like you've lost a twin in a way. You can't even get how devastating it must be.
Do you know what? There's a lot in this in the next book, which we might cover on the next show. We might get to today. I don't know, but there's so many trigger points in that for me. You know, Hedwig.
Oh
Dobby,
my God, Hedwig.
Fred.
It's like J.K. Rowling went, right.
Remus.
Can I kill a character every other chapter?
Yeah. Don't you think that's such a bold move to me? I mean, that's what we were talking about Stephen King, weren't we? Stephen King's a genius at it.
God,
all the best stories.
And George R.R. Martin as well.
Yeah.
He does it.
All the best writers.
It's like...
all the best writers have broken your heart.
Yeah.
And
that's what I know. I keep coming back to it, but that's what she does at the end of A Casual Vacancy. She gets you invested in a character, like a bit like Stephen King does. A character who's not actually particularly nice, and if you lived on the same street as them, you'd probably not like living on the same street as them because they're gobby and they're rude and they're disruptive and not particularly nice human. And then she gets you to the end of the story and she just rips your heart on, and then she stamps on it, and then she pours lighter fluid on it, and then she sets it on. She's just with two characters with like it's like she knows, like, oh
wow.
Yeah, I think they all know because as you construct
people who've suffered heartbreak and have a tough life, though, they're very good at being able to pull on those strings, aren't they?
Yeah, of course. And also, it's important, isn't it? Not everybody's going to make it out alive of these stories, and that's part of the journey. You know, the Dark Tower's great for that.
And that's the thing I do.
You're absolutely right.
The thing I do think she's brilliant at, and why I do think the Potter series are fundamental reading for young people, is because they teach you so many life lessons that you can't be taught in school. They just don't sink in school. But until you yourself, as a reader, invested in all of these wonderful characters, until you, as a reader, experience Hedwig being blasted out of the sky, and Dobby, being disapparated and waking up with a fucking dagger through his chest.
Having saved everybody.
Having saved everybody.
Completely muffled by the fact they didn't have the Dobby in 5 of the fucking films that they needed him in for you to.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's a real okay. So do you think that's a really good point, actually? So, I mean, I know that we're still looking at the Half-Blood Prince at the moment. But do you think the absence of characters like Dobby throughout the series, and we know why they did it was to kind of save time and budget and things like that, and the story the information from the source material that they chose to use meant that character wasn't relevant. But do you think they dropped a ball there, or do you think they still managed to tug at the heartstrings sufficiently enough with that Dobby moment in the end of the 7th film?
Difficult to say for me because I remember it in the books, and in the books it had more weight to it, and the character Dobby had a lot more to do with the actual storyline.
Yeah,
quite importantly so, and that's just kind of glossed over in the movies. So I think having been upset by the death of Dumbledore is the same as seeing Dobby die on screen. Is that it gets the reaction it needs to get from people, but it's not as weighty as it would have been had they,
I think you'd have to ask that question if you'd not read it.
Yeah,
that's true.
The people that haven't read it were really upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's almost like the films are Potter light. So you're still going through the same emotions, but maybe not to the degree that you end up doing in the books, because there's so much more involved and detailed and things like that. So maybe that's what's happening.
I think that with it being 20 years or so or more, 25 years since the first one came out, if they were to remake it
I agree, Big T.
nowadays and recast it, which I'm sure we could do, it'd take us a little while. I'm sure we could have a good go at recasting it. But
I think we should finish the Tonight Show with recasting it. Maybe not do the seventh book.
That.
Maybe we don't do the seventh book today, and maybe we just recast.
I think if they were to refilm this and learn what they've learned from television now, which is that you can have the same weight, the same standard of acting, the same standard of effects, and take your time with the story. I think if they ever remade it, but they took their time with it, so even the first book gets 2 movies or 2 series, you know what I mean? Just to really make sure everything's, then it don't have to be about what chapter you're on or what part of the saga you're on. It's like a continual journey. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's about time they remade them. Why not? They're going to get shitloads of money from people. People who want to go see it. Daniel Radcliffe is a fully grown-ass man now. Like, they could easily get away with redoing it. In fact, they're probably talking about it as we speak. And I don't think these are the definitive versions. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, we didn't have Sean Bean or kill him off in them, so that's the first place I'd start. Who's Sean and when's he going to die?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we were to let's just cover a little bit more on the Half-Blood Prince, because we've got little things like the Half-Blood Prince's potion book, for example.
Which is massively.
Could have gone to Harry or Ron as well, and again that's set up slightly differently in the books too. So the books are just given out, I think, in the books.
Yeah, I think they are.
Aren't they given out by Slughorn?
Slughorn, but in the film, I think they go and fight over who's got the best copy, and Harry lets Ron have the better copy because Harry has the better quality of everything.
Let's cut this kid some slack.
Yeah, exactly.
Might have shit trainers on, but at least he's got this brand new book.
Exactly. Yeah, he's wearing his brother's old pants, but exactly. It's a decent potions book.
The
whole point of there is a parallel, isn't there, between, or they certainly try to run a parallel between Tom Riddle's diary and the Half-Blood Prince's potion book, in that Ginny draws that comparison that she was influenced by this book to the point where she did bad things, and whether Harry is also being influenced in the same vein, albeit the potions book not being magical.
Right, hang on. So in the book, is there ever any reference to the fact that Slughorn may have made sure Harry was given that book?
No.
Right, okay, so it's pure chance. He ends up with Severus's Snape book.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, his potions go from dog shit to being better than anybody else's because he's tweaked everything according to the instructions in the margins that somebody's kindly written in there. Meanwhile, is he not learning a little bit more about Snape's relationship with his mum and dad when he was at Hogwarts, and that his parents may not have been the role models he thought because they were actually quite douchey? Or is that the next?
No, he doesn't learn that about his parents, but what he does learn is about the history between Snape and Harry's mum. And so it's with all those pensive journeys. So basically, he is instructed by Dumbledore when they go on their little journey to recruit Slughorn. Dumbledore says that you're going to be having lessons with me this year. Last year, you had lessons with Snape to do the what's it called? Oh, hang on.
With the thing.
What's it called? Good one, Webby. Yes, occlumency. Yes, so that was last year's lessons. This year's lessons are with me, and they go,
friends.
they go to the pensive, and he sees there Snape as a boy, and he also sees his dad maybe being a bully, and he sees the spell being used by his dad that the Death Eaters used in the 4th book at the Quidditch World Cup, where they're the Levius Corpus one, Levius Corpus one. So yeah, it's Harry's been bombarded with a lot of information that is really confusing him because he knows so little about his parents. But at the same time, yeah, he's finding out about that Snape had quite a poor upbringing, yeah, but it doesn't really look at his parents that much. Webby.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Webby.
All right.
Well, no, because Webby. This is the point that Webby was.
I just have a general, like a simple child. I have a very, very simplistic outlook. All this Harry Potter stuff kind of just happens at the same time in my brain. I have real trouble distinguishing, where we are in the timeline of things because it's been a long time since I read it.
Well, let's take that point then to go to Gary's point, which is completely off topic, but beautifully poignant at the same time. Hi, guys. I have a question for you all. Do you think it would be a good investment for MGM to re-edit The Wizard of Oz so that Toto is actually played by Danny DeVito in a really poor dog costume? Yes, and yes.
I would pay good money to see that.
That's the content I'm here for, Gary. Welcome to the show, buddy. Come back with more comments like that.
I'd argue that Danny DeVito would be perfectly cast in any of the roles in Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. I argue that Danny DeVito would be perfectly cast in every single movie.
He's a great,
but in a really poor dog costume. I just think it's a really. I would love to see Danny DeVito in a really bad dog costume.
Hey man, it's got to be better than the Muppets Wizard of Oz, mate.
Oh, dude,
can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the diary,
Potions book,
the Potions book. Sorry,
Half-Blood Prince. We're talking about Harry slowly putting the pieces together and realizing that this book has got to have come from someone.
And he even starts to question whether it's his parents.
Yeah, or whether it's Voldemort's or Tom Riddle's old copy, because he was a bit of a smarty pants at school as well. And he was a prefect.
Now, I think that changes halfway through the book, because at one point I think he thought that Voldemort was pureblood, but then found out during this story that he's actually half-blood, that his his dad was a muggle.
Yeah, because it's all about that property of the half-blood
prince.
Half-Blood Prince.
It's all about that. That's written on the inside of the book, so he's constantly questioning who that could be. And there's a surprising amount of suspects for that, aren't they? In the Hogwarts world.
I'll tell you something that I think that they did. Sorry. Yes, please, like that. And also, Harry, last year you had lessons with Snape. This year you have lessons with Michael Jackson. Nice. I like that. No, I'm up for that. Nice one, Michael. Gary, nice one. I like that. Yes, so I think they handled the Sector Sempra scene really well in the films. I thought they managed. So the scene with Draco in the bathroom with
the fight and the blood nose.
And the splitting
in the film and the book. Is it Snape who figures out that Harry's got his book?
Yes, by the Sectum Sempra spell. So it's at that point he realizes it, and then at the end he tries to use the spell on Snape as Snape's fleeing the castle, and he says, "You dare use my own spell against me."
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's a cool touch. There's so many cool touches in these stories, and it sounds so stupid to people that have probably never read the books and are sitting there going, "Why are these guys talking about these little intricacies, these little things?" But you don't see them coming. There's so many places these things could be coming from, that you never know.
But it's really important that Snape is the person to come and cure Draco in the bathroom after the Septum Sempra, because at that point, there's a load of weight and gravitas on that not many other people, that no one in that scene other than Snape is aware of, and that is the unbreakable vow, that if something happens to Draco, then Snape dies. So the fact that these kids have just gotten into a fight and Harry has used Snape's own spell to almost kill the kid, that Snape would die if the kid, it's really complex.
It's awesome. It's awesome, yeah. So, right, okay, going back to this idea of if we were to recast these movies, right?
I think
before we wrap up, I mean, okay, so the point of the Half-Blood Prince is Harry figuring out a little bit more about. I mean, at this point, by the end of this book, he knows a Horcrux exists, and he knows that they've got to go find them because he says, "I'm not coming."
He
not
knows
coming back next year.
7 Horcruxes, 6. Hang on, I can't remember.
I think he even knows that 2 of them are gone. He knows the diary's gone and the ring.
He knows the diary and the ring have gone. That's right. Yeah,
because Dumbledore blasted that ring with his finger.
Yeah. Yeah, so Dumbledore finger blasted the ring and got a lurgy.
Got wizard syphilis.
Right.
Yeah. So by the end of the movie, by the end of the book, Harry's like, I can't afford to come back to Hogwarts next year. Not under this new regime. Not without Dumbledore, because that was the only thing that was making me assured that I was going to get through the school year. Was that guy looking out for me? Yeah.
And also he's aware that he's been given a mission that is more important than his education. You know, at that point, Hogwarts is irrelevant to him.
His 2 best friends also stand up and go, "Well, don't think we're coming back here without you, dude. We're coming with you, man. This is just."
So he's determined to go off and do this by himself.
The bookworm Hermione, who would never miss an exam in a heartbeat, decides to skip her entire last year of school to help her best friend. That's how important things are. So you see,
it's interesting that she's the only one of them that goes back to complete her Hogwarts schooling as well when all of it's over.
Sorry, I just saw a comment there, dude, that you're gonna love.
Yeah, I've just seen it as well. Yes. There you go.
So even nerdy old Hermione's like, right, I'm taking time off. This is too important. So basically, even though the rest of the world still doesn't believe that Harry is in any mortal danger from Dumbledore, from Voldemort. Half of them still don't believe that Voldemort's even back. The 2 most important people in Harry's life are right next to him, ready to go into the next chapter. And that's fucking beautiful, man.
And they've also got looming over them that the magic that protected Harry at the Dursleys is going to run out as well.
That's
the thing that we know is about to happen.
I mean, months. It's just got 2 months on him from that point. From when he finishes school that year, he knows he's going to go back to the Dursleys to prove it dry for the last time. And that protective charm, or all of those protective charms, will be lifted. And that's it, isn't it? There's just no way out of it.
All right, but you know what's just occurred to me? Surely that goes both ways. So the Dursleys are no longer allowed to. It's no longer guaranteed protection, but they're no longer guaranteed protection from him, and he's a fucking wizard. So
that's
you know what I mean?
I don't know
I
if
go
they
straight
see
back
it that way,
to Cricket Drive and turn them all into fucking cockroaches or something.
But that's the beauty about the way that those characters are written, is that they don't see themselves in any danger at that point from Voldemort and his followers, because they are so arrogant and egotistical that 1, they're better than wizards, and 2, Harry's just a massive inconvenience, and that is where they're kind of preoccupied. It's only, in fact, even at the start of the 7th one, Vernon's still like, "Nah, we're staying here. I don't believe you. You're going to sell my house." And all those sort of things. He's still, it's Dudley that ends up convincing him to go, and it's Dudley that we'll get onto in the next Harry Potter special. But it's Dudley that kind of comes full circle.
I've not read that last book since it came out, so that's interesting.
I mean, that's a very hard book to revisit, though, isn't it? I mean, that's just being stabbed in the face.
Yeah, repeatedly,
1 million times. Yeah.
It's really tough. That last book is. But
but I like that. I like being taken on a journey in a book, and I'm not particularly bothered whether I'm overexcited or unhappy or what. I think I appreciate somebody took the time to make me feel. You know what I mean? And it worked.
Yeah.
No,
I totally hear you. And just another comment from Gary here. Although the movie's creative, I would like to have seen more practical effects.
Boom.
I completely agree with you. And that, Gary, I think Nat might agree with me. That is one of the beauties of The Cursed Child.
Yes.
There are practical special effects that are being used that are
another level
magic tricks. But the guy who did the magic tricks for Cursed Child, he's done all the magic tricks for Back to the Future and things like that. There's a guy I used to go to university with. He's really good friends with a mate of mine, so he kind of gets to go. But we should try and get him on the show, see if we can get him to discuss some of his secrets. But it's a guy called Chris, and he's just an absolute literal wizard, and it's stunning.
It's an incredible show to watch. 100%.
Yeah. See, this is why, for me, leaving Dobby out of 5 films and then killing him is a poor excuse, because Gary's hit the nail on the proverbial head for me. If they'd have just employed a bit more Jim Henson's Creature Workshop and had Dobby as a lovable, believable puppet like Yoda, which people still prefer the puppet from the 80s version of Star Wars, the green screen version of Yoda, then they would have nailed it. And they could have just had that puppet in all the movies, bobbing along, moving right along. That's a Lummy joke. He'll get that. Anyway, but I agree with Gary. I think a little bit more. I know there were a lot of practical effects in these movies because they're not stupid. They're cheap. They're cheaper. Yeah. So wherever they can, they usually do. But for some reason, it's kind of like it's like the beginning of Indiana Jones 4, isn't it? That they could have just got a gopher instead of CG. Spent millions of dollars on a CGI gopher that takes you straight out the film with it in the opening credit. Like,
I mean, Caddyshack has the best, and it works perfectly. It's just completely believable. All right, guys. Well, listen. Let's finish the show off. If we were going to recast the Harry Potter films with people that are around now, how many of the kids from Stranger Things would be? No, what would we? Yeah, pretty much.
Are we having any rules?
Because no rules.
One rule of thumb seems to be for these movies is that they only use British cast.
There are some British actors who are massive who either didn't, in my opinion, get enough time in the films, like David Tennant, or aren't in them at all, like Kate Winslet, Judi Dench, Michael Sheen.
Oh, that's a good point.
All right,
Michael Sheen would be brilliant.
How good would Michael Sheen be?
I'm going to throw my hat in the ring immediately and say he would be a perfect Lupin.
Yes, wouldn't
Michael Sheen? Yeah, perfect. Absolutely he would.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm just writing a list of our recasting of it. Okay, so
Lupin him. Okay.
Michael Sheen. And we might not finish it this week. We might not finish it this week. We might end up coming, with the next one.
So it's just a matter of who's Tom Hardy going to play.
Oh, Tom Hardy. Yeah. Oh, do you know what as well? Thinking about, if we're going to think about like recap, obviously Good Omens. You all saw Good Omens, I hope. It's amazing.
It's
David Tennant.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Oh, he's in it.
I think watching that David Tennant would have been a great series.
But he's in it. He's already in it.
I know, but
we're recasting it, and he's not using enough because they didn't have the Barty Crouch Jr. character in the film as much as they had him in the book.
Yeah.
Also, he was nowhere near as famous. If they refilmed it now and put him in it, they'd have to give him a bigger role.
That's true. That's true. So David Tennant as Sirius, you think?
Maybe Sirius, or maybe Gilderoy Lockhart, or somebody like that. Like, I think he would lend himself to someone who's quite flamboyant, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, David Tennant would be a really good Gilderoy Lockhart. Having watched the BBC thing, hang on.
I don't know, because I think we'd be wasting him in one movie. Gilderoy is not really in a lot. I think you could have him in more.
Should we have him as Sirius then?
Okay, possibly. David Tennant as Sirius.
Tom Hardy would make a great Fenrir Greyback as well.
Do you know, that's exactly who I was thinking, but he's just not in it enough.
He's not in it enough. You want to
he's in the books. He's in the books loads more. Yeah. But
it's hard with the younger cast. It's hard to do the younger wizards because I'm not creepy enough to be following enough young actors around to know who's in what now. You know what I mean?
You see, I think, can we not bend the rules and look at the kids from It and the kids from Stranger Things as potential? Because I thought the kids who were casting...
That's not bending the rules.
Were just amazing.
Cheating.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think...
Well, actually, Gary's on the same line as you in a way here.
Let's do that. Let's put Dobby and Danny DeVito. Please. Let's just get
Danny DeVito and Gary Mitchell related.
Yeah, you're right, big team. So be that's a good shout.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
So Greyback is Baptista. and Dobby, Danny DeVito,
Danny
in a
DeVito.
dressing gown.
I'll tell you whichever English actor.
That's a brilliant shout, Gary.
Harry Potter that sounds like Stan Lee's comeback. I was going for just randomly try an impression that you've never tried before and hope it doesn't come out perfectly. Amazing. Yeah. Harry Potter
yes,
must
welcome
go
to
back
Lummy's
to
career.
What about Tim Roth? What about
Tim Roth is amazing, yeah. Tim
Yeah,
Roth is
like
great.
Tim Roth would be see, I was
Maybe
thinking Tim
Snape,
Roth would have been a good Sirius, but a Snape would be great.
Yeah,
Tim Roth
he
is
does a good
Snape.
bad guy. He does a really good bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make Tim Roth
yeah.
Snape.
Yeah. Perfect casting, that is.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Dumbledore? Who would we have as Dumbledore?
I don't want to be that person who says Ian
Jimmy
McKellen,
Savile.
but Ian McKellen. Not Jimmy Savile.
Have you heard about the Jimmy Savile's film or series that Steve Coogan's going to play? That's brilliant casting.
I can't help but think that's just so he can utilise his Jimmy Savile impression again after it being so fashionable for so many years. It's like, finally, yes, Jurassic Park.
I'd like to see. Oh no, she's a bit too old. I was going to say I'd like to see someone like Judi Dench try McGonagall, but I think she might be a bit too old. No.
Judi Dench, yeah, she might be a bit too old now. But I tell you what, Steve Coogan might not be a bad shot.
Hey, Steve Coogan, actually.
Gilderoy Lockhart.
Yes, that's a great shout, Webby.
Does he play a good snivelly kind of Weasley kind of
brilliant. Well, I was thinking him. Actually, I was thinking Steve Coogan. I was thinking Sacha Baron Cohen.
I'd prefer Steve Coogan as Gilderoy.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Oh my God, I just remembered another guy who's brilliant, and he would be brilliant as Lupin again. Ben Whishaw.
Yeah.
Ben Whishaw.
Yeah, it would be good. All right, so we need Dumbledore, we need Harry, Hermione, and Ron as well.
I want to cast the girl who played Beverly in it as Hermione because she's clever and she's just the right amount of street smarts and she can act.
See, I might argue she's really good, but I might argue that the girl who played Lyra in The Golden Compass might be brilliant.
That's a good shout.
British too.
Good
That's
point.
a good shout.
Who else did I see recently that was...
You're about Sophia Lillis or Lily?
Yes. There's a girl... There's a girl who was in The Servant that we watched recently that used to be in Game of Thrones, and she played Jaime and Cersei's daughter. Princess, what's her name, who gets sent to the Sand Snakes. Now, she's in this American thing, The Servant. I think she'd be really good as somebody like Tonks.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Gary does make a good point, although for the purpose of this, I think we kind of have to come up with somebody, but with no named actors, the kids, because there is a ton of acting talent out there.
Dude, I completely agree with him. Me and Gary are cut from the same cloth, man. I completely agree that kids are better as no-named actors, generally. And I think if you've got the right... So, I mean, if I may indulge... do you know, I think it'd be a really good shout to actually have a go at directing one of these as well, would be Steven Spielberg, because I know he can get a performance out of kids actors. So it might be worth giving him a shot. He's no stranger to a spectacular, is he? He's no stranger to effects.
That's a great shout there, Big T. Sam Riley is Snape.
Sam Riley.
Yeah. That's a really good shout. She does have a good voice, and also this is a bit left field. Idris Elba as Dumbledore.
Hey, she never says he's not black.
No,
just that he's gay.
Retrospectively, maybe retrospectively, she could say that Dumbledore was black as well, but I'm just not sure how that would go.
I know who should play Dumbledore. It should be Ted from Line of Duty.
Yeah.
Mother Mary of God. Oh, what's his name? Adrian something, is it?
Yeah, I could just see him going, Mother Mary of God, Harry.
I've just thought Bill Bailey. We need to get Bill Bailey in.
As
Bill Bailey would be good as who's the guy? Mundungus Fletcher.
Mundungus Fletcher would be quite good as that. He would be good, but he'd also be good as
Hagrid.
Is it Phelps? No, the caretaker.
Oh, Filch.
Filch.
Yeah.
Bill Bailey.
Yeah,
Filch.
yeah.
Oh, he's not evil enough. No, you need a Weasley guy for him. I would have said he'd have made a decent Hagrid because he's so fluffy and hairy and rough.
Yeah.
You know what
Just
I mean?
just a short Hagrid.
Yeah. And basically, he's got Hagrid's accent anyway, hasn't he? So it'd be
He
easy.
does. That's true.
He does.
Very
That's
well
true.
on the lady front, though. To be honest,
I mean,
think
we've
need
not
to
cast
update.
Kate
Story of your life, Webby.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what? We've got Olivia Colman, Kate Winslet. What could we
Oh
call
my
her?
God,
Yeah.
Olivia Colman
Olivia
would be
Colman.
an amazing.
McGonagall.
I was going to say Bellatrix.
And I was
Really?
going to say,
Yeah, I
Umbridge.
think she'd be brilliant. Oh my God,
How
she
good
would
is
be
just put her in it.
Yeah.
She would just triple threat her and put her in all.
No. Let's just recast this where Olivia Colman plays every character.
Yeah.
I think I'll be down with that because Olivia Colman.
I think that if she was watching this, I think she'd be so touched that we think she's so good she could play a bad guy, a really really bad guy, and a really nice guy. Like that's
yeah. So who did we just say? Olivia Colman as Umbridge.
I think she should be Umbridge.
Brilliant.
I think she'd be absolutely brilliant at that.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think
Kate
you're absolutely
Winslet.
Right.
Maybe Kate Winslet could be Bellatrix. Could Kate Winslet be evil enough to be Bellatrix? Or do we need somebody like Tilda
I think
Swinton?
she'd be a good Narcissa Malfoy.
Oh yeah,
Kate
actually,
Winslet.
She's all this. I've just
Because there's an upper classness to it that I think would lend itself well.
I think I've just seen her in something recently, having not seen Kate Winslet in a movie for ages. The Mayor of Easttown.
Oh, is it good?
She was fantastic in it, but she has aged really gracefully and really well, and she's of the age where she could play an elder wizard. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to you think you'd have to cast her in something a bit younger, like Tonks.
So you thinking McGonagall?
I'm thinking, McGonagall or Trelawney or something. I don't know. Yeah,
Trelawney.
Maybe she's not woolly enough for Trelawney.
Okay, let's go for McGonagall then.
Yeah, let's do that.
So that is Kate Winslet. And before we get to that, we've got Dad Weasley played by Father Dougal, and some of the kids in it are absolutely wonderful. We've visited before.
Do you know what? If he's actually serious about that, Ardalo Hanlon would not be a bad shout in these movies. But I see.
You're right. He would be good.
Like Cedric Diggory or somebody who. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
He seems a bit aloof and a bit silly until he has to put that emotional punch where he loses his son, and
Yeah.
Malfoy. Who do we think would play a good Malfoy?
I can't decide now. I've seen that last comment.
Yeah, I know. Adam Sandler de-aged.
Oh God.
He collapsed the other day, by the way. Tom, I can't remember his surname. The guy who played Malfoy.
I saw that.
Yeah, celebrity at a charity golf deal. He had a seizure and had to be carried from the. He looked awful, really bad. Yeah. Get well soon, Tom.
Yeah, man. That's
sincerity there.
Who else have we got left? We've got
Lucius Malfoy, we've got Draco Malfoy, we've got Harry, Hermione, and Ron, and we've got Dumbledore. And Hagrid.
A guy who I watched last night, a guy called Luke Evans.
Bill Bailey.
Do you know who Luke Evans is? Welsh/British actor. I think he's in some of the. Google him. He's got a very unique face. He's got a very strong jawline. But I think he would be a good Lucius Malfoy. And he was in the thing we watched last night, which has just popped up on Amazon Prime, where.
I know what you mean.
Oh my God! What's it called? Nicole Kidman playing the head of this crazy spa where people go to get wellness, but
9 Perfect Strangers. No,
that's it. Yeah.
That's something. Yeah, Sylvia wants to watch that.
It's good.
Well, my lady partner.
Okay.
Oh,
we got a special guest, dudes.
We got. No, we
haven't. Our Lummies. Hang on. One second. He sent me a message.
Hang on. We're finishing up in a sec anyway. So
it's cool.
So
yes.
So what does have you Googled that guy that Nathan was talking about now? Would he?
I know exactly what you mean. He looks very like a male model-y, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean?
So he would be good for which character did you suggest? Webby?
I suggested he'd be good as Lucius Malfoy.
Okay.
Yeah, he would
What's his
actually. That
name?
jaw.
Luke
Got a
Shaw.
very severe jaw.
Yeah, that jaw. I
What's
don't
his
think that there are
surname?
enough. Oh, go on. Sorry.
What's his
What was his
surname?
name?
Luke
Evans. I think.
Evans.
I don't think there are enough British actresses of colour in this. What we've
That's
got
a good
people
point.
like
Lummy!
Oh!
Hello, Lummy.
I
Hi,
You finished
babe.
TikToking with all those 18-year-olds.
you what?
You
Have you
finished
had a beer?
TikToking with your 18-year-old posse.
I want TikToking it with my niece's 18th birthday.
Yeah,
actually.
exactly. We're down with the
Yeah.
kids. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I went in, I go in and I just tell them what a few truths about the world. Anyway, keep talking.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
are you doing?
Yeah, no,
You know.
I was just about. We're recasting Harry Potter, and I think we need to find a
Oh,
place
Christian
for.
Bale would be good
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I agree. Actually,
I think
Is
just
this
to
you?
insult
Who you got?
Christian. I
Who have
think
you got
just
so
to-
far?
One sec. I
Right.
think just to insult Christian Bale a bit, we should make him a really minor character, like one of the centaurs.
Yeah. Friends.
Show up with it.
So, Lummy, we're just finishing the show up with just recasting the films. We've only looked at the 6th book, and we're going to do another episode with the 7th. So
We said it
far,
wouldn't
as
be done,
Snape,
but we did it.
we've got Tim Roth. We've got Michael Sheen as Lupin, David Tennant as Sirius Black, Dave Bautista as Fenrir Greyback, the werewolf. We've got Danny DeVito in a dressing gown as Dobby the house elf. We've got Steve Coogan as Gilderoy Lockhart.
Coogan's a bit busy at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Olivia Colman is playing Dolores Umbridge. Kate Winslet as Professor McGonagall. Bill Bailey as Hagrid. And Luke Evans as Malfoy. So all we really need now is Harry, Hermione, Ron, Dumbledore, and I mean we
Ian
probably need a
McKellen.
Mad-Eye Moody.
I think
Do
we
you
need
think? Do you think
Ian
McKellen for Dumbledore?
Let's just
I'd
do it.
love
Yeah.
that.
But can I
I'd
just?
love
Can
that,
I
but
just?
it's so.
I know,
Gandalf.
but I think we should do it.
Fuck
Can
it.
I
we
mean,
just
he
get
does a
some-
good job though as Gandalf, doesn't he? So
He does,
you
yeah.
know, you know.
Can we just get some people of colour into this? Can we think about whether we can get Naomi Harris or Tandy Newton into this film? Because they're British actresses, they're really good.
Yeah.
We haven't got a Tonks yet. I think Tandy Newton would be a great Tonks.
Yeah, she would.
Personally.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to see Melissa McCarthy as Professor Sprout.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, great shout.
Yeah.
Hang on 1 second. So Sprout is played by Melissa McCarthy. We got Mad-Eye Moody. Anyone?
What's she called? Narcissa Malfoy would be. Nicole Kidman would be a much better Narcissa Malfoy.
She would actually,
especially with her new face.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would be a great Narcissa Malfoy.
Her
That's
face
true.
is
That.
Yeah,
messed up
got
in
that.
this new show. Right.
Nicole Kidman. Yeah, got that. So we do need Hermione, Ron, Harry.
Have we
I'm
got
still
Dumbledore?
sticking by the girl from It as I'm going to get her name.
The one who played Beverly,
Yeah,
Sophia
Well-
Lillis.
yeah.
What about
I'm
some
still
of the
sticking by her.
Stranger Kids? Stranger
We were
Things
talking
kids?
about that.
Stranger
That
Kids.
one, Nat,
Yeah,
that lady there.
Yes,
Yeah,
she'd
yeah.
be a great Hermione.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
I'm going to
actually,
put a casting call out for open auditions for new actors for the role. Ron, Harry, because we've got to find some fresh meat, man.
Yeah.
You
And I'll
know, the
tell you
answer
which
is just
other-
to give it to some snotty
Don't
American
don't put that in your advert. Looking for fresh meat.
Yeah, we're
a
looking
different
for some
magazine.
children to be in. We're looking for some fresh young meat to be in a film. Okay, Big T, what have you got to say, buddy? You would have Keanu Reeves in a film.
Yeah. Dracula.
Yeah.
My God. Yeah.
Jonathan Harker.
Whoa.
Dude.
Jonathan Harker Preston. What was it? No. Bill S. Preston.
Bill S. Preston, Esquire. Yeah.
That
Right.
Dracula
Ted Theodore Logan, that's it.
bit me on my neck.
Okay, so which of the Stranger Things kids could recast recast as Harry?
Oh, God.
None of them.
Don't
None
know,
of them.
actually. Don't know.
Or what about that little kid in Stranger Things? Who not in Stranger Things, sorry, in Philip Pullman in his Dark Materials.
Roger.
Lyra's little friend,
Oh,
Roger.
mate, that kid was
brilliant.
an actor.
He was brilliant.
What a brilliant actor that kid was.
He would make
That's
a brilliant
the kind of-
Neville. He would be
Dude.
brilliant as Neville Longbottom.
If he's got any mates that went to the same acting school, him and a couple of his mates, and they can whichever, they'd be better than what we already had.
Yeah, I think he'd be brilliant as Neville Longbottom. His Dark Materials kid. What's his name? Roger in it. I'm not even going to look at the actor's
kid's name, mate, but yeah,
Roger from his Dark Materials.
Yeah.
So we're just stuck with Ron and Harry now.
Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Brilliant.
Yeah. De-age them. We've got the technology. We've got the budget.
Let's just do that. Nick Frost obviously is Ron. Simon Pegg is Harry. Let's just do that.
Okay. I think that's perfect. Perfect casting there, Nat. So Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. So there we have it. So our official It's All Geek to Me official recasting for the reboot of the Harry Potter franchise is as follows: Harry Potter, Simon Pegg; Hermione Granger, Sophia Lilly; Ron, Nick Frost; Dumbledore, Ian McKellen; Professor Snape, Tim Roth; Professor Lupin, Michael Sheen. That is brilliant. Sirius Black, David Tennant; Fenrir Greyback, Dave Bautista; Dobby the House Elf, Danny DeVito in a dressing gown. Sorry, that's my favourite. Gilderoy Lockhart is Steve Coogan. Olivia Colman plays Professor Umbridge.
She nearly had 3 roles,
she was nearly playing every role in the. We nearly gave Olivia Colman every role in the film.
I mean, she could do it.
Yeah,
totally.
Somebody mentioned her name. Nat wanted her as one of her. We all have different ideas of who she
Yeah,
was.
And suddenly we were like, she could play everybody.
Just let her play everybody, yeah.
Professor McGonagall, Kate Winslet; Hagrid, Bill Bailey; Malfoy, Luke Evans. That was Lucius Malfoy, Luke Evans. Tonks is Tandy Newton. Professor Sprout is Melissa McCarthy. Narcissa Malfoy is Nicole Kidman. And Neville Longbottom is played by the kid who played Roger in his Dark Materials. That's a good cast.
Yeah.
The only suggestion I'd make is that maybe, I might be wrong, because Simon Pegg is a little more ginger and Nick Frost is not, we should swap them around. And Nick Frost would be Harry. Like, why not? Give him the lead role for a change.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Okay.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. I just think that
is fair.
You know, otherwise they're all going to have to dye their hair. It's going to be a frigging nightmare.
Yeah,
that's
enough.
true.
No.
That's true.
Is this going to be a TV series so you can do the entire books?
We
That
did
was
talk
my
about
suggestion.
making it into
We
a
did talk
series.
about that, but I think we actually decided upon having pretty much all of the books being 2 films.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
or arguably just give it the time it frigging needs. You know what I mean? It don't have to be a 6-hour Philosopher's Stone if there's only 2 hours worth of story. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying make it extra long just cause.
Actually,
But there is a lot missing in the 6th film that's in the books. Sorry, Nat.
No, you're right. I was going to say, can we actually agree that every mythical creature, the centaur, Buckbeak, every single house elf is all actually played by Danny DeVito, not just Dobby?
Yes.
And
In a badly
voice
fitting
change
costume.
software.
Dragons.
No voice. No, he uses the same voice in every.
For
Yeah, exactly.
For Buckbeak,
Yeah.
for whatever
And
species.
And it's a badly fitting costume for every single one as well.
Because I want to see
Paul Whitehouse is the sorting hat.
Sorting hat, yeah,
It's a great
Paul Whitehouse,
shout.
yeah.
It's a brilliant shout. That's a great shout, Big T.
I want to see a CGI'd Danny DeVito in a Buckbeak costume that's too small for him, with Nick Frost on his back going over a lake, screaming. That's what I want to see.
Nah, if I could draw, I'd pick you.
I had that upside down then. I had Nick Frost on his back with Danny DeVito on top of him. I was like, wait, how does that work?
Oh, mate, you know that Jim'll paint it guy?
Yeah.
You got to send it to Jim'll paint it. Oh, mate.
Yeah, Nick Frost as Harry Potter.
Yeah.
How was
you
your
guys-
dinner, Lummy? What did you have for your dinner?
Oh, I had a bit of scampi. It were nice, but I was missing you guys. I thought I've got to come on and say hello. I watched a little bit. That's when I wrote nerds. I watched a little bit while I was sat at but I couldn't hear it because I'm not rude. I don't have my volume up in it.
No, you just happily watch it, but not,
happily,
family
not
dinner.
give anyone any eye contact at a family dinner, but I'll listen to that boringness.
Did you have a beer? Did you have a cheeky beer?
No, didn't. No.
Danny DeVito playing Harry as well, but he has to use his penguin voice from Batman Returns. Nice idea, Gary. I like it. I'm a fan of your work.
Dear.
Guys, is there anything anyone else would like to talk about the Half-Blood Prince that we haven't covered this week?
I think we've got pretty deep into that.
How far have you got with your Potters? How far have you got with them now?
So we're up to
sensible
including
thing.
the 6th.
Yeah, we've done a sensible thing, and we've left ourselves at the second to last one. So
yeah,
the next.
Well, the last one. It's the last book, but the last 2 films.
Right, I see.
I think we're all dreading going into the last book / 2 films because it's just so heartbreaking and depressing.
Yeah, and despite us giving us extra time to the one story this time, we've still missed loads of stuff out.
No, absolutely. But rather than trying to shoot on everything in like we did with the last episode. Guys, is there anything that anybody would like to plug for next week? You got any shows coming up? Lummy, Hospital Radio, I keep calling it. Box Office Radio.
I'm on Hospital Radio.
What's going on with Box Office Radio this
Well, it's interesting because it ties into a little bit because the playlist for tomorrow night I've got a Harry Potter track.
I thought you were going to say from the films of Danny DeVito.
No, I've got it's a regular show, so I've got different stuff tomorrow night, but mixed bag of stuff. But I've got a track for, I think, which one is it? The track's called Ginny Kisses Harry or something.
Ooh.
So which film does that happen?
It goes like that.
Which film's that in? Yeah.
It'll be the 6th one is where they kiss for the first time.
Right, so that's in the smoochy section tomorrow night. And something else you just talked about, I've got an actual Cornetto trilogy set of tracks in there as well.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
And it's already been picked.
We've got to have a look at the Cornetto trilogy one week.
We do. I 100% agree because I absolutely love Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, Edgar Wright, genius, gods, love them. And,
would you come back on the show to do that, Nat?
Yes, million times, yes.
Awesome.
Obsessed with particular hot fuzz.
You don't have to come on a million times once will do.
You lummy.
Somebody's feeling threatened.
I love Hot Fuzz and I love Shaun of the Dead, but
we all do.
And when I watched The World's End the first time, I was like, meh. I rewatched it recently, and it was much better than I remembered. Just throwing that out.
Really, I was wondering the thing about rewatching it the other week actually. So I will do that on your recommendation.
It's Simon Pegg that throws you in that because his character's an arsehole.
Yeah, it's quite dark actually.
Yeah, he's the only reason they're all getting together, and everybody hates him, and it's just a bit like I don't know. I find it really hard to have sympathy for a character that I don't like, But yeah, it was a weird one with World's End. I hope
it was a strange one. Is anybody?
The next? Go on, Lummy.
I was just going to say, is anybody going to see Bond? Because it's out on Thursday.
I'm taking my dad for his birthday.
Daniel Craig ruined Bond for me. I used to love Bond films, and I don't like them as much with Daniel Craig. Just don't enjoy them as much.
I watched there were a documentary really good about him, about his career, playing Bond basically. I can't remember what it's called, but it was
brand
good.
new, isn't it? The new one.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a good documentary. And how he dealt with the pressure.
He resurrected my interest in Bond, weirdly enough, and it's clearly because all the people at Bond were watching Bourne Identity and stuff like that and thinking, right, this is what it's supposed to look like.
This is how we've got to reinvent it, right?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, it did look like that, and it was way more enjoyable for me, personally. But there have been a couple of dodgy ones. I didn't. Yeah.
They just stopped being Bond films when they started doing all that for me, and just became Bourne films. They're
not my favourites, but I will watch this one just because it's rounding it off, really, and
Well,
I remember,
guys,
when Adam and Joe had a show on BBC Six, it was around about the time Quantum of Solace came out, and they wrote a song. I've got to find you the lyrics. You won't believe how they...
Well, while you're doing that, there's a message for Lummy here.
Danny DeVito appreciation need to play the taxi. Yeah,
Good shout. It's a good shout.
it's a good shout.
You right, managed to find what you're looking for, Webford?
I have, yeah. Just loading up a
Webford.
second. They had a competition to see who could write the best fake Bond song, and it's just some of the rhyming in it was fantastic. I can't sing it because we'll get sued, but the lyrics were, I'm James Bond, I'm a spy, and I work for the Brits. I've got cars and guns and gadgets. I've got ladies with big brains. I've got a license to kill. I've got a license to fish. I've got a license. I've got sexy suits and air miles, but here's my biggest wish. I'd like a quantum of solace, but no more than a quantum. I know they do big bags. I know they do big bags of solace, but I don't want them.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's very good.
I really love that. It's better than the entire film.
I've got a couple of days off this week, and I am going to go to the cinemas. A couple of films that I would like to go and see while kids are at school and cinemas are quiet and stuff like that. So I might go and see the Marvel film.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, it looks really good.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks really good. So I think I might go and see that. But coming up over the next couple of weeks, so we've got an interesting few weeks coming up because I'm not around next week. I've got my last week of the Magic
Pantomime.
So I'm not here on the pantomime that Chris likes to refer to it as.
Funny running jokes that you guys have developed to just blowing my mind.
So it will be.
Oh no, you don't. Now you say, "Oh yes, I do."
That instead I went for it's behind me. So I'll be there next week. So it'll be Webby and Lummy next week, and then I'll be back the week after. But then we start, and Nat hasn't agreed to this yet. But then we start getting into Halloween season, guys, which Nat will be around for. We are going to be doing a Halloween special the week before or the week of, but before Halloween Day, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do the Deathly Hallows Harry Potter retrospective. So part 4 of our special Harry Potter special the week after Halloween. Do
you want the dates? Halloween show, really, the Geek show should be 25th of October.
Okay.
Because that's the Monday.
Nat being on again and again and again is I'm going to get accustomed to Nat, and then one day she's not going to be here, and I'll be like, what the frig's going on? Because at some point you're going to have been on that many shows that she'll technically be better at it than us. So,
at some point,
over to her.
At some point, Nat needs to plug some Lush.
Maybe I should just send you some Lush. How about that?
That'd be great, and then we can say that we're sponsored by Lush, and then it makes us look more professional.
Yeah.
Can you get Can you bring some Lush Halloween stuff in for the show? You know, like a couple of special
I've
things
got
and show us them.
Halloween stuff, like literally in the next room, so I will be covered in Lush Halloween stuff if you want me to.
Sexy. And all of this is to be confirmed because, Lummy, you weren't here for the breaking news at the start of the show.
What's happened? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So it wasn't a bullshit. Oh,
No,
should I
it's
be
true.
concerned?
It's true.
So,
All right.
So
the other thing
maybe, but all being well, we'll be back. So,
I don't trust anything that I see on things like this because I've seen Darren Brown do it, and then you end up thinking you're in a zombie apocalypse, and you're not, and it's a TV program. So until that asteroid hits my ass, I'm going to assume it's not happening.
Yeah.
Asteroid.
Asteroid. That's exactly right.
So Gittins, I'm confused. Gittins isn't with us next week because he's on his last round of potions for his wizard syphilis.
Yeah,
that's exactly what. Next week, what I'm doing for the show is I am going to be interviewing a falcon handler that we've got on the show. We've got a falcon, a real life falcon. I'm going to have. So he's called Rowan. I'm going to have him on my arm and filming that next week. I'm going to be interviewing Shauna, his handler, as well, who is obsessed with the zombie apocalypse. And I showed her around the armory at the Royal Opera House.
Are you actually interviewing him? Are you actually?
That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, for the show.
Why not, man? Sounds interesting.
Yeah, man. So a real life Falcon on the show in
can
2
you
weeks'
make
time,
up
mate.
answers? Can you make up bird-related answers for the mouth of the Falcon when you do your
Yeah, no,
video?
what we'll do,
Everything
we'll have
you
Danny
want is just
DeVito's
bird
voice. Danny DeVito's voice, just overlaying the Falcon.
I think he'd do it, if you ask him.
Have you had a visit from you know who tonight, or has he not been on because it's Potter?
Santa.
No, not Santa.
No. I can't
He's
believe
not
it.
been on because Sean. I think he likes you more. Yeah, I think he likes you more.
Really left out of this now, guys.
You know I'm on about, Rich. You were on all last week on the show all the way through it.
Yeah.
Oh God, Stan!
Yeah,
no, you've been around this week.
He's never around when you're not around. It's weird.
Who would Stan be in the Harry Potter movie? Who would we cast Stan as?
Oh, with the groundskeeper guy.
Do you know what? Phil, we didn't actually cast Voldemort. Out of all of the people, we didn't cast a Voldemort.
Stan Lee as the bus driver, the night bus driver.
I've got you. What about this for Voldemort? Voldemort, here, I've got you an image. John Cleese.
Why not?
Harry Potter! Right!
In some ways, he'd be a good Dumbledore with that voice.
Yeah, I mean, I am hesitant about McKellen. I don't know if he's going to say he's already played a big wizard.
Okay, I'm going to say that this is not the confirmed.
There's always Patrick Stewart. Why don't we give Patrick Stewart the Dumbledore role?
And keep him bald, but with a ginormous beard.
That'd be great.
He's got Dumbledore's beard, but it's that often. It's just.
Can we say that this is not our definitive list? We're going to work on this between now and when we come back with the Deathly Hallows. And if any of you have any suggestions of who you would like to play in a reboot version of the Harry Potter films, then feel free to leave a comment over at It's All Geek Twit on our Facebook pages, or below this when you're watching it back again because it was such a fun show. Also. Rich playing with birds next week. What's his lady partner going to say? Waka, waka, waka. She's fine.
Yeah.
Right, hang on. Your Potter casting, right? Is it? Can you have people who are dead already?
I mean, it might get in the way of filming.
Can you bring them back though? For your fantasy league.
No.
As anybody who's seen a magic film knows, you can't bring them back from the dead, man.
No, John Candy as Hagrid had a bad.
John Candy as Hagrid would be quite good.
John Candy as Hagrid, I'd have had it straight away.
Or as Slughorn, Professor Slughorn. John Candy
would be a good Slughorn.
Yeah,
I think John Candy would be a better Slughorn. Do you know who might be a really good Sam Rockwell? Could be a good Voldemort because he was brilliant in Green Mile as the bad.
I thought you said you might. Do you know who might be a good Sam Rockwell?
No, I nearly did. I'm going to be honest. I nearly did. Should have shoot at Sam Rockwell and Sam.
Quite proud of the fact that most of that cast is still British as well, which seems to have been a thing that they did with the first set of movies. So the less Americans in the movie, the better for me. However, I did cast Melissa McCarthy, and Sam Rockwell is one of my favourites, man. I love that guy. I love him.
And Baptista's American as well. But I mean,
but I said Tom Hardy for Fenrir Greyback, and then we.
Yeah, but it's just,
we did.
I agree with you. So let's again. So this isn't the confirmed. So I think Tom Hardy would be great. Yeah.
He would, and I know that we're not giving him the kind of material he's used to having, a lot of room. But Alfie Solomon isn't the backbone of Peaky Blinders, is he?
Character.
Yeah, but he's not the backbone of it, is he? He's a small part, according to
There are no small parts, only small actors.
Very good.
With small parts.
We're thinking about Cillian Murphy as well.
Yeah, see, I was thinking about him. Now, right, can we get this? Is it Cillian or is it Killian?
It's silly.
It's Killian.
Because I've got a friend called Killian whose name is Killian and it's spelled.
Yeah, it's Killian because my mum corrected me about it the other week when we were talking about him. She said her and a partner have just got through Peaky Blinders, and I went, "Oh,
her lady partner."
Yeah, a lady partner.
Yeah,
that's true. It is, but she doesn't call it that. She's cooler than you. No, she said that they finished Peaky Blinders. I said, "What do you think?" She said, "Oh, really good." I said, "Don't you think Cillian Murphy gets away with murder because he barely goes above a whisper for the entire fucking run?" She was like, "It's Cillian Murphy." I was like, "That wasn't my point, Mum, but thanks for that." But I can assure you.
No, you're right, baby. Big T's coming with a last suggestion before we finish up. The guy who played Hodor as Hagrid.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah,
shout.
yeah.
It's a good shout. Image-wise, it's a brilliant shout. But that is all we've got for this week. Tune in to Box Office Radio tomorrow. What time, Lummy? 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock. Join me. Leave some requests as well. I need some.
Right.
I need more requests. I was just thinking. I need more requests for the show. You know.
One of us.
Webby, is there anything that you would like to recommend or point out or request from Lummy?
I'm not going to say the same thing I've always said, which is I've got a few people in my life that I work for that are struggling mental health wise. Take your mental health seriously. Go to the doctors if you're feeling down. Just to get it sorted. It's just going to bite you in the ass otherwise. And you could end up in some bad places. Believe me, I deal with these wards every day. They're not particularly where you want to be. So yeah, you know, if you know somebody who's suffering, reach out and touch somebody's hand.
The number is on the bottom of the screen now.
Yeah. Shall I just read your mobile number out, Webby? Is that what? Shall I just do that? Put it into the edit. Natalie, thank you as always. You are just such an awesome guest. You bring so much to this show that these two pricks don't. So thank you. You're awesome. And I can't wait
thank
to
you
see
for having me. It's been really such a nice time again. Thank you.
Yeah. Give our love to Wee Jimmy Cranky. And,
I will.
Grace Jones.
I'll give them your love and return the gold hot pants.
You do that.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Unless they were Chris's all along.
It was Lummy, wasn't it? We were thinking about wearing gold hot pants.
Yeah, somebody said they were probably Lummy's gold hot pants. We've never really established whether they were.
What are you on about gold hot pants for?
You don't.
We did first half of the show. We talked about. We just fantasized about you wearing gold hot pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And also
Yeah.
we're trying to stay in Grace Jones's good books because she's the most amazing woman on the planet, and I don't think she gets enough credit for
Grace Jones.
Yeah, and as soon as anything bad was said about her, even vaguely bad, my internet cut out completely. I disappeared from the show. So, the all-seeing, all-powerful Grace Jones, we salute.
She used to go out. Was it Dolph Lundgren? She used to go out with, didn't she?
I think it was.
And I mean, he's a terrifying-looking guy. So.
Yeah.
So
no, absolutely. But she would be brilliant as Goes of the Gozerian, though. I think she would be, if they were going to redo the first film. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Big T, thank you so much. Thank you very much to Gary. Thank you very much to Martin. Thank you to the heads up about the apocalypse from the Voids. Well, I don't know if it's apocalypse, but just a big-ass meteor hitting the Earth next month. That's a cheery note, isn't it? Laurie, thank you. Natalie, thank you. Webby, thank you so much. I'll be back in 2 weeks, but these beautiful bunch of bastards will be back next week, same time, same place. Until then, we'll see you. Goodbye.
Love you.
Bye.
Hey, did I make it in time for the show, true believers?